Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here, but unfortunately, I'm not here in person. I look forward to it, but had some issues that created a little bit of a problem for me and my wife, Donna. She has been in the hospital for a couple of days, and I'm just a little bit reluctant to bring her with me and come here. So I decided I better just stay with her for a couple of days till we get some things worked out for her. But I hope you have a good event here, and I want to encourage you about the training program. I think it's a very, very important situation. But I thought I heard some booing when Kevin introduced me. I don't know whether the booing was for him or me, but anyway, I think I can give him a good recommendation, though, even if he did say something bad about me, but maybe he didn't. I've been involved in the tire industry this will be my 60th year. I started when I was playing with tires at 8 years old, but I didn't learn much then. But I grew up on a river bottom farm. The only thing that had rubber tires on it was a Rio car. I don't know, most of you probably don't know who a Rio car is, what a Rio car is, but that was the original rival of Oldsmobile was Olds, a man named Olds, and he made the Rio for many years, starting way back in the 20s. And I think he still makes trucks today. But we had rubber tires on that car and wooden spokes. But everything else had iron wheels, wagons, machinery, tractors, everything. And suddenly, when I was 8, I could start the tractor, crank it, drive it, but it had iron wheels. But I really wasn't all that impressed until my brother and my dad brought it back from a maintenance area, and they had put rubber tires on it. I said, wow, this is something special. And it was special, and you're going to see a lot of changes in your time in the career, in your career, and it's going to be important that you realize what those changes are. They're going to be major changes in the industry coming in the next 50 years, things that we can't really absorb right now and understand what that's going to be. But it's going to be important if you're in the tire industry to focus on what tires do, what tires perform, what tires do not perform. And you need to be able to have the knowledge to be able to recognize conditions in those tires, whether it be earthmover or aircraft or truck, whatever it may be. If it's a retread or a new tire, you need to know and have the knowledge of what happens in those tires. I've been lucky. I've been 60 years in the tire industry, running retread plants. I started running retread plants when I was 21 years old. I was a plant manager. I didn't know beans about nothing, but I had to learn. And people taught me were the people in the tire industry and some special people that I worked with. I worked with a man that was 81 years old. That's what I am today, 81 years old. The man didn't know a lot about tires, but he was a petroleum engineer, and he was almost blind, but he was the most intelligent man I ever worked with in my life. He taught me everything that I could learn about steam and air and steel and what steel would bend, and when you were installing a plant, what you had to know to put that plant in. He worked for Shell Oil, and so he just had unbelievable knowledge in almost any field, chemicals that you used in your boilers and how to handle chemicals safely. And it was just on and on. And I'd always say, I'd come back and I'd do an installation in the plant, and I would say, what do you think of this? Is this a good system? He said, the good isn't good enough. And he'd say, you always do the best you can, but keep trying to do it better, because there's always something better that's going to come along. In my life, probably the biggest thing that gave me a focus and a direction to guide on and stay focused in the tire industry was my wife, Donna, and my daughter, Tina. They led me in to accept Jesus as my Savior, and I follow God's guidings and rules, and I can't go wrong there. Whether you do that or not is up to you, but it's important that you focus not just on how to sell a tire or how to promote a tire, but it's important to see how tires perform. Whatever tire you sell or tire you are witnessing in involving an accident or performance of a tire, you need to have the knowledge. We've got quite a few older people in the business today, but we've got some younger people coming on. I'm hoping those people will take a real strong interest in the tire industry and really get focused on those programs. I owe so much to the tire industry, the tire dealers, the tire manufacturers, rubber manufacturers, the repair material manufacturers, the equipment manufacturers. All of these are important to be able to do the job that needs to be done in the tire industry, whatever you do, but it has to be knowledge to keep you from being hurt by not understanding a piece of equipment, not understanding how a tire might rupture, how a wheel may crack and break, whether you use the right studs on the wheels, whether you use the right torque, whether it's the biggest earth mover tire made in the world or a small wheel bar tire. All of them can hurt you if you don't have the knowledge to service those tires. But it's just critical that the knowledge that people have when they sell tires, when they service tires, when they deliver tires, all of those things are major. And I made a comment about, I think it was 12, 14 years that I worked in expert witness, and 41 people were killed in those cases that I worked on. There's just no excuse for that. It's just something that people take a shortcut. Again, I encourage the younger people that are involved in the industry today, study everything you can, listen to everything you can. If you get a tire that fails that you're not going to send anybody to make an opinion about the condition of the tire, cut it up in pieces. Dig in there and figure out what happened. You may think it was a bad wheel, it may be a bad tire, it may be a faulty mounting process of the tire. All of those things are things that need to be looked at. I can tell you from the classes that I was involved in at TIA, and it's just so clear when you talk to these people, they know nothing compared to what you have to know. When Kevin and I started this thing, and Joe Kilcoyne and some of the other people, and a lot of the trucking companies got involved and described what they wanted as training, it was amazing how little we knew. We did it the way we always did, and we thought we were good. But we found we had to learn the requirements for equipment, how you handle equipment, the markings on the equipment, so that people, when they pick up a tool, they know what that tool is capable of doing, and they don't exceed that. They don't exceed it with load carrying capacity, how you hook it up. We've got changes coming in the machinery constantly, and you have to understand that machinery. Boom trucks are risky business if you don't understand what you're doing. When you get a load to pick up on a crane, you have to know what it'll pick up at 10 feet away, what it'll pick up at 15 feet away, what it'll lift. You lift the tire, or are you lifting the tire and the wheel? All of those can save your life if you know what that boom truck is capable of doing, and if it's maintained properly, if it's marked properly so that the operator knows what it can pick up at a certain distance, that he can place his stabilizers and how to place those stabilizers. He has to be trained to do that. An earth mover tire has killed people close to us, people that have been to the OTR seminar, but they didn't come back because they were killed by a tire, by some slip of the movement. Maybe they were just moving a tire. Maybe they were rolling a tire. Maybe they were putting it on a scraper or a loader. But all of those can be the end of your life if you don't follow the training rules and use your head. It's just, it can't be, it gets me flustered when I think about how dangerous it can be. You see people that get hurt, that something that looks simple to you, but when a person is 19, 20, 21, 25 years old, they can lose their career for the rest of their life because of a simple shortcut that they take to try to do something to make it happen faster or easier. And they might lose their hearing, they might lose their ability to think and speak, but you have to continue that training. It's just to keep the industry strong, to keep service people well qualified to do the work, and to keep our training staffs well organized to be able to do this. You learn a lot by watching the serviceman work, and you can tell whether he does a good job or not. But that has to be corrected. The people that make tools, they make changes in the tools. They have a responsibility to get the information out to the training people and to the customers that buy the product, that this is something new, this is what it'll do, and this is what it will not do. And you have to know that to be able to stay safe and keep your life squared away. I've had two men that were unloading a truck one day, a 37.539. They were rolling it off of a tractor trailer, and two tires that were foam filled behind them flipped over and hit their legs from behind and broke one leg on each man. That's an example, and that goes for a training. You've got to stay with the training programs. Follow what the manufacturers tell you about the wheels and the tires and the jacks and the lifts, and all of those things are critical. And that is what you have to do as part of the industry, to follow a direction that you've got and build your knowledge and read everything you can and listen to what people tell you and evaluate what they tell you and make sure that what they're telling you is correct, because you can't stand to have injuries if you're going to keep your industry strong, and it's going to be strong. I think the future of the earth mover industry and the truck tire industry is going to be especially strong in the next 20, 30, maybe 50 years. We've got so much equipment that's capable of doing the work, but mining has been cut back in some areas. But I think there's going to be a lot of things happening with the changes in the government. We're going to be building new highways. We're going to be building new roads, lakes, and dams. We got a lot of weaknesses. How many of you been to an airport that everything is kind of dilapidated and needs a lot of work? So that's going to be a big, big job, and we don't have any choice. We have to make the stand and be able to maintain the equipment that's out there and improve it, because it's you walk under a bridge and you look around it, and I make a point of that because I've always been a little concerned about bridges, because I've been close to some bridges that fell, and they have to be repaired now. There's not a lot of tires are used, and sometimes they have to reroute the bridge, so that can be a use of tires. So it's a very, very important thing to deal with. Mining, I think, is going to be strong because we're going to be exporting. I think a lot of stuff that we mine, whether it be aggregates or coal or what it may be, there's going to be use of tires and retreading to keep that industry strong. But it's got to be done right. You got to service properly. I think the new OTR program that's come in line with the TIA program. I think the training program for the OTR is going to be a real plus. Anyway, have a great show, and if you have any questions you want to have me, you can call me anytime. I'd feel happy about that. And I want to thank everybody that's there, and a lot of people that aren't there. But anybody that's involved in the tires, whether it's rubber or tires or fabric or whatever it is, I owe those people for the training that I got in my lifetime. Thank you very much, and have a great show. Thank you.
Isn't he awesome? Everybody, let's give him a big round of applause.
Is that on the tape?